Beautiful look out the back patio. Pretty nice to come out and see this every morning. Alright, welcome back. It is the end of week 2. Not too bad. Happy with what the progress was, and I'll share that with you in a little bit. Just out here enjoying the nature first thing in the morning, recording some content for you. So this is again 12-week program, going through a transformation process because of some things I saw in a previous video I shot for a tutorial. Just as a recap, this is the end of the second week. Only did minor changes to start with. We talked about last time with finding out what your motivation was and establishing your big motivating factor, and for me, based on what I saw, I knew it was time to get some changes in the body and start moving some things, because I didn't like the way I looked and I didn't like the way I felt, and my ultimate goal is to increase my energy level so I can enjoy more life and to fit in my clothes better so I can feel more confident about who I am and be more satisfied with the skin I'm in. So that's what we did. So last week we started off with, or I started off with, just doing some basic cardio. You can see the previous video for that. And this week instituted some resistance training in addition to the cardio. So without further ado, let's jump in and take a look at some of the results and talk about a few other things. So we got week 1 under our belt, and before we start talking about week 2, let's do a check-in on some of the progress that happened over the course of the first week. So keep in mind, I'm taking this slow and steady and only incorporating small changes based on what happens, and it's something that I also coach my clients on. We take baby steps, we do one small step at a time, but sometimes things will have to change to keep the progress moving in the right direction. So to recap what I'm doing, I instituted daily cardio session of 30 minutes, did that fasted first thing in the morning, and I was doing that for 5 days of the week, and taking the weekends off to recuperate and record these videos for you guys. So that was week 1. No big changes, just a little bit of cardio. Got on the elliptical. I used my virtual reality headset to keep myself entertained doing the cardio, to keep it interesting and fun and help the time go past. So no crazy hardcore stuff, no diet changes, no food changes, and that's all I did for the first week. So, and I ate whatever I wanted. So what were the results? So since I didn't change much in the way of my lifestyle, and right now I'm just using the scale and how I feel for assessments after only 1 week in. And as you can see, my starting weight was about 228 pounds. So pretty high for me, not what I'm used to seeing. But before we look at what my weight ended up at, let's pause for a moment and talk about expectations. So expectations, when starting any type of program, it's best to go into it with a certain level of expectations and what you're hoping to get out of it. So what I suggest to my clients is to set the bar low when first starting out and just look for small changes. We're just looking to move the needle at least 1%. Sometimes it'll move more, sometimes it will stay stagnant, but in overall, the overall goal is to move that needle just 1% over the course of the time we're doing this. When I coach on weight management or weight loss in the beginning, I recommend staying off the scale for the first couple of weeks, because the stress level that you're going to go through when it comes to looking at the scale every single day builds the stress levels up. The cortisol starts to increase, and you're focused primarily on that scale, and your body will respond to that stress level and halt your progress. So we look for other things and start to notice other things in our life and in our body and what other changes are happening. So this is a way of training our brain to look for success elsewhere. So instead of looking at the scale all the time, we want to look at other things that are going on in our life. You know, it's tough because a lot of us are conditioned that the scale matters, and the scale is, you know, the God we worship to make sure that that needle is moving. But it's been a standard of measure. We always measure ourselves by that. Even the medical industry measures success by the scale moving in a lot of regards. So doctors will talk to patients about their current and ideal weight based on standards set way back in the 70s by Ancel Keys when the BMI was established as a simple measurement that they could use with patients to determine objectively, quote unquote objectively, a person's weight problems. But depending on your body composition, this can often be misleading, you know, and sometimes flat out wrong as far as what the results are. You know, take a bodybuilder for example. I was a competitive bodybuilder for a long time and a lot of years, and due to the mass of muscle that I carried on my body, the BMI would categorize me as being morbidly obese, depending on what my weight was and how much muscle mass I was carrying, because the BMI doesn't factor in the muscle mass. It's a basic measurement. It's your weight in kilograms divided by your height squared, and as you can see from the picture, you know, that's the standard of measurement that's been used. So how else can you measure your progress? Well, when we're talking about 1% change, the scale is one way of looking at it, but there are other non-tangible things you can also measure and notice when taking a journey such as this. So you can pay attention and notice things like your mental outlook or your mood. You know, there's a slew of chemical changes that happen in your body when you begin to increase your activity level. You know, adrenaline, endorphins, dopamine, which is the feel-good hormone, they're all affected when the body is moved and encounters different types of stressors. These are good things and something to notice and reflect on as you make your way through the journey. Another thing is energy level. Your energy level will naturally begin to go up, and you'll find that you somehow magically have more energy. If you've been feeling tired often and finding yourself wanting to do more things but lack the energy to do so, you may begin to experience some changes in this area. You know, your clothes may start to fit differently. You know, when the body begins to move more, you may notice that your clothes are beginning to fit differently, maybe a little looser. When the body sees that you're doing something different, it will go through a process of adaptation. So it's always looking for equilibrium or homeostasis, as they call it in the science world. And it will begin to use resources it has available in abundance, and the result is body composition will start to change. So look and notice other areas of your life changing, and not just the number on the scale. You know, the scale will move later. It may not move much in the beginning. You know, the first week or the first 2 weeks, it may not move hardly at all, but it will move later. You know, and that's the goal. We're looking for that 1% change over the course of time. So where did I end up after a week? So as you see in the graph, I started out at 228, give or take, you know, a couple tenths of a pound, but I ended up at 226. So, you know, it's down 1.6 pounds, almost 2 pounds, and all I did was add a little bit of movement, you know, 30 minutes of cardio. Pretty darn good progress, if you ask me. Especially consider I didn't change anything else. At this rate, if I maintain this rate of loss, you know, that'll be around 25 pounds lost over the course of this 12 weeks, which will be that'll be pretty good. I'll be happy with that. Get me under the 200 mark, or right at the 200 mark, I'll be happy with that. And that's if I don't change anything else. If I just keep doing what I'm doing, and at this rate of loss, it should be good. But I'm not going to do that, however. You know, some things will change, and it's inevitable because I want to keep the progress moving forward. And we all stall. So when that stall happens, that's when it's time to reassess, make a small subtle change, and keep the progress moving forward. So week 2 changes. We're looking for another 1%. So what we're going to do is to keep the momentum going in the right direction. I'll amp it up just a bit, not much. Still only taking baby steps and not shocking the system too hard, because we're looking for lasting change, not a quick fix. So another 1% for this week is going to be adding some more movement in the form of resistance training. So what I'm going to do is 20 minutes of additional resistance training on top of the 5 days of cardio I do, but I'm only going to do resistance training 3 days out of the week. But I'm only going to use what I have available at home. You know, I'm not going to the gym anymore. I don't have a gym membership. I've just got some tools that I use down in the basement, and as you'll see later on in the video, some of the things that I'm doing. But you know, I have plenty of tools at my disposal, and so do you. So to accomplish this additional 1% change, you can use what you have. If you don't have equipment what I have, guess what? You already have a gym at your disposal, and it's probably not what you're thinking. You know, the biggest thing that you have at your disposal is your body. So you can use your body to accomplish so many things when it comes to resistance training. You know, you've got all kinds of exercises you can do. There are plenty of videos out there. If you don't have access to a gym, you have a gym, and it's your own body weight. You know, I'm going to show you some of the things that I do with some of the tools I have, but you don't need a whole lot of stuff to accomplish a 1% change. So I don't have bulky equipment. You know, when the gyms closed down, I had to get creative with what I had. Not everyone has a gym membership, and if you don't worry, not to despair. You have something at your disposal. So what do I have? So before I get to showing you what I do have, let's talk a little bit more about body weight and using your body to move. You know, like I said, your body is the most accessible gym that you have, and your body weight, you can do some simple basic movements and accomplish some moving tasks that will keep the progress moving in the right direction with just your body weight as resistance. So you've no doubt seen many videos on different body weight routines, so I'm not going to bore you and go into a lot of those in this video. You can search the web and find some videos for some body weight exercises that you want to use if you want to go that route. So check out social media, see what's out there, and implement whatever you want in that regard. But what I'm going to be using some resistance bands because I don't go to the gym anymore, and I'm going to be using some kettlebells, and I'm going to be using my body weight. And since I'm not competitive bodybuilding anymore, I don't need to use a whole lot of gym equipment. So I'm just going to get my body back into a condition that makes me happy and feel good. So I'll put a link down in the description in this video for the resistance bands that I use, and you're welcome to check them out. You know, they're really inexpensive, and you can accomplish a ton of things with these few bands that I have that you'll see in a little bit. If you go the band route, there are plenty of videos out there that'll give you some instruction on different routines that you can use with bands that will accomplish a pretty good workout. I mean, you can get a pretty good sweat going. You will have muscle soreness. They're good for accomplishing the changes in your body composition. So I thought I'd take a few minutes and walk through a little bit of my routine. So what you're seeing here is my normal warm-up before I get going. I will do some abdominal work. I'll do 20 reps of each one of these different movements. So I started off with crunches, and now I'm doing some oblique exercises, throwing in a little bit of movement with my leg as well while I do the crunch up. And again, I'm doing this 20 reps per side, and this will be the third in the movement. So I'll do obliques on each side, and now I'm going to do some crossover sit-ups, so almost Rocky style, but I'm incorporating a little bit of different movement with a leg lift included, kind of work the lower abdominals as well as the side obliques and upper abdominals. And again, doing 20 reps a side on this one. And I do this on my warm-up. So this is my warm-up before I get going with any of my routines. So when I do resistance training, I like to warm the body up, gets the core temperature up, gets everything moving, and then I'll finish up with some leg raises. And eventually I'll start to do like a V-up with these. And then I'll finish up with a little stretch out the muscles I just worked, and then do a couple of cat stretches before I move on to my routine. So this is after the warm up. You're seeing a couple different days here. I did some chest and back work on one day, and then I did some arm work on another day. But just basic stuff. You know, these bands work really great. I'm starting off with the lightest band first, doing some lat pull downs. I've got the band wrapped around one of the rafters, and I put the grips on there so I had something to hold on to. 20 reps each movement. Single arm curls. You can see I've got the strap wrapped around. Very easy to do. And did some overhead tricep extensions, and also did some chest work too, just using one of the poles that was in the basement. You know, the neat thing with these straps is that they come with the hand grips. They come with a little attachment that you can put inside of a door frame even to do your work. And since this was 2 days, so I did some upper body work on 2 days, and then for my third day activity, I did some leg work. So you can do some pretty good leg work with bands. As you can see, I started off with some squats. So I did 20 reps, and again, I'm just starting off small using that lightest weight band. They say that the heaviest band you can get 80 pounds, and if you do a couple bands at a time, you can get close to 200 pounds just with added resistance with the bands. But did some squats for overall body, and did some leg extensions modified. That's the bottom right corner, and some leg curls modified. And I did my cardio right after my routine. So I changed it up a little bit last week and did cardio after my lifting. So I did some in the VR, got on the elliptical. You can see I got Paris on the left, and I got the Arctic Circle on the right. Pretty neat. They've got some nice music clips. And then I changed it up. So for the last couple of days of the week, you know, I thought I'd give good old Beat Saber a try and do some cardio with that. And after you do your resistance training and doing cardio, you're going to work up an even more heavier sweat. And, you know, even though you can see me in the video over there, it doesn't look like I'm moving around a whole lot, but there is some intensity with trying to hit these nice little colored blocks. They got some nice routines as far as music tracks in here. One of my favorites is called Light It Up. It's got like 1,000 or so blocks you hit. It's a couple minutes worth of song in there, and by the end of that one, I got a pretty good bead of sweat going. Not just from the heat of the headset, but my whole body is involved in it, so moving around a little bit. So I will get 30 minutes worth of activity doing Beat Saber. It's fun, it's enjoyable. You get to jam out and hit a bunch of blocks along the way. So I did like 4 to 6 songs, just so I make sure I get 30 minutes in, and it goes by fast. You know, I'm ready. I'm still going after I do all this stuff. So it was fun, but it just goes to show you can use anything for your cardio. Just get some movement that you enjoy. You know, I like the VR headset. I can get out and run around or bike as well, but it was fun. So that was week 2. So you saw a little bit of what I did as far as my routines went. We talked a little bit about movement and what I incorporated. So next week, week 3, we start to make some more changes to see if we can keep the momentum going. And next week we'll talk about food and some of the things that I'll be incorporating into some dietary changes. And we'll talk a little bit about some dietary theories while we're at it. Food is nothing to be scared of. My programs, my clients eat what they want to eat, but we'll talk about how that factors into getting a positive transformation over the course of 12 weeks. And again, looking for that 1% change. So I will see you again in the next video.